Montana once said on a song, "Nobody's perfect, I gotta work it again and again until I get it right." And that song is applicable to basically every single human being in the history of the world. Because nobody's truly ever been perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days, to quote Hannah Montana once again. Except for one human being. Okay, one person is exempt from that song. And that is, of course, the Flickanator, aka Hansi Flick, who is part human, part cyborg. I mean, this guy, man, he's insane. I love the Flickanator so much. I'm ready to shout it from the tallest peak in the history of humanity. Mount Everest, K2, I don't care. Mom, I'm in love with the German monster, and it's not David Hasselhoff, it's Hansi Flick. I really want to put into perspective how much I adore Hansi Flick. And I know a lot of Barca fans share that with me. They share that love for Hansi Flick. The same love that I have for Hansi Flick, they share with me. Okay, they love this guy as much as I do. But it seems like not every single player in that Barca dressing room is as fond of Hansi Flick as you and I. And I'm of course talking about three players in particular, and those three players are Ferran Torres, Hector Ford, and Ansu Fati, who are all visibly upset with Hansi Flick's decision making in that game against Celta Vigo on Saturday. Ansu Fati and Hector Ford were upset that Hansi Flick did not sub him out to that game, and Ferran Torres was upset that Hansi Flick subbed him out of that game. So today, I want to give you guys my thoughts on this whole situation because Hansi Flick came out and gave some quotes regarding this whole situation in his interview today before the Mallorca match, and he obviously said some things that I want to address and give you guys my thoughts on, and you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But let's get into this, okay? First, I want to talk about Ansu Fati. I might sound like a dick with what I'm about to say, but I promise you, I'm not trying to sound like one. I have no sympathy for Ansu Fati in this situation. Let me explain to you why. When somebody tells you something, listen to that person. When somebody communicates something to you, listen to them. They're literally telling you what they're going to do. So listen. If I say to you, I'm going to punch you in the face, be ready for me to punch you in the fucking face. Don't be surprised when somebody punches you in the face after they've told you, I'm going to punch you in the face. And let's just say you're on a plane, right? Another analogy here. You're on a plane and the pilot says, hey, for the next 15 minutes, we're going to experience some heavy turbulence. You cannot be upset when for the next 15 minutes, the plane starts shaking like crazy because the pilot literally told you, we're going to experience heavy turbulence. If the pilot said, hey, for the next 15 minutes, there's going to be no turbulence whatsoever, it's going to be smooth sailing, and then all of a sudden the plane starts shaking, you can be pissed at the pilot. But if the pilot tells you there's going to be turbulence, you have no right to be mad at the pilot. And I use those analogies because I think it fits perfectly with this situation between Hansi Flick and Ansu Fati. Because Hansi Flick literally told Ansu Fati in January, listen, bro, go find a club. You're not going to play here. You're just not going to play. And Ansu Fati wanted to stay. He wanted to stay. He had offers from from a couple of teams in the Saudi League. He had offers from a couple of teams in Liga NOS where he could have gotten real playing time, and he refused to go. So I have no sympathy for Ansu Fati at all. Literally fucking zero. Literally zero. Ansu Fati is not in Hansi Flick's plans. We thought he was going to be in his plans when Hansi Flick first got the job back in July. And Hansi Flick got some quotes about utilizing Ansu Fati. But then what happened, like clockwork, Ansu Fati got injured like he always does. And it's not his fault, man, but the ship has sailed, man. Ansu Fati has to give it up. He's not going to be part of the future in Barcelona as long as Hansi Flick is the coach, and he's got to be okay with that. Are you going to side with Ansu Fati or Hansi Flick? Who are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick? Ansu Fati or Hansi Flick? I know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the guy who's giving me no reason to doubt him since he got the job back in July. Okay? And in this stretch that Barca have had of unbeaten games in 2025, obviously before they lost to Dortmund, Ansu Fati hasn't played. So clearly Hansi Flick knows what the fuck he's doing. And clearly this team doesn't need Ansu Fati. And Ansu Fati got some minutes against Dortmund in garbage time. But that's about it. That's all the minutes he's going to get. He's not going to get more minutes than that. Because he's done nothing to earn Hansi Flick's trust. And I don't know what he's doing in training, but clearly it's not good enough to get in the game. We're not in training. I'm not in the training ground, okay? I don't know what Ansu Fati is doing, but clearly Hansi Flick sees what he's doing and he's not impressed by it. So we gotta stop acting like Hansi Flick is the bad guy here for not playing Ansu Fati. I understand a lot of Barca fans have a soft spot in their heart for Ansu Fati, okay? Because we thought he was gonna be the next Lamine Yamal. But that ship has sailed, guys. It's sailed, like I said. If Hansi Flick would have told Ansu Fati, hey, stay here because I'm gonna get you some playing time, and then Ansu Fati doesn't play, he has every right to be upset. But Hansi Flick literally told him, hey man, find a new club. You're not going to play here. And Ansu Fati wanted to stay. And now his family's coming out and talking shit about how, like, oh, he's upset with his playing time. Why, bro? He told you he's not going to play you. He told you he's not going to play you. Like, it's baffling to me, man. It's baffling how people are defending. It's baffling to me how people are defending Ansu Fati in this situation. It makes no sense to me. And again, I think Ansu still has a lot of potential. I think he can still go on to have a great career. It's just not going to happen at Barcelona, or at least it's not going to happen at Barcelona while Hansi Flick is the coach. And Ansu Fati got playing time under Xavi. And what did he do? He did fuck all. He got playing time at Brighton. What did he do? He did fuck all. He got injured and he was inconsistent because it's a story of Ansu Fati's career. And you guys got to understand that, man. I'm not trying to. I sound like a fucking teacher here lecturing the students, but it's true, bro. It's true. Like, you guys got to understand. It's done with Ansu Fati. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work out at Barcelona. Okay? And like I said, I don't feel sympathy for Ansu Fati because Hansi Flick literally told him, he communicated to him, you're not going to play. Like, I'm not old enough here to give advice to people, okay? I've fucked up a lot in my life, and I'm going to continue to fuck up. I'm a young guy, okay? Maybe to you guys I'm not, but I'm 23 years old. I've made a lot of mistakes, okay? So I'm not going to sit here and lecture people on how to live life because I'm not the type of person to do that, and I have no right to do that, okay? I'm not qualified to do that, I should say. But I'll tell you guys this. It's common sense. When somebody says, I'm going to do something, most of the time they're going to do it. Okay? Most of the time they're going to do it. So listen, when people tell you something, listen to them. Listen to them. And Hansi Flick, like I said, he told Ansu Fati you're not going to play. He communicated that to him. So that's because of that, I have no sympathy for Ansu Fati not getting playing time. Okay? I understand that he's upset, but kicking a cooler in a win, Barca won the game. It's one of the biggest games of the season. Okay, Barca are down, trying to make a comeback, trying to complete a comeback. You haven't gotten any significant playing time, any playing time in significant games all season. And you think Hansi Flick is going to bring you on in this game? What the fuck? Where did you get that from, man? And people are like, oh, Hansi Flick doesn't give him a chance to shine. So, again, are you going to trust Hansi Flick or are you going to trust Ansu Fati? I'm going to trust Hansi Flick. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to trust the man who's brought us to a UCL semi-final and is giving us our best season in years. I'll trust that guy over Ansu Fati. Sorry, I just will. Now let's talk about Ferran Torres and Hector Ford. Those guys, to me, do have a reason to be upset. Especially Ferran Torres, because Ferran Torres was playing well when he was on the pitch. To me, I said it in my match review, I'm going to say it again today. When Ferran Torres came off the pitch, up until that point, in the time that he was on the pitch, he was the best player. He scored a goal, and I thought he was playing well. I thought he was better than Lewandowski. I thought he should have been on the pitch instead of Lewandowski, okay? So, I understand why Ferran Torres was upset. Again, I don't like the pouting because it's a team, bro. You guys are here to win. It's not about individual accolades. You're here to win. And I understand that every player wants to win. Every player wants to score goals and get playing time. I get that, okay? I understand that these are human beings and they can be selfish to a fault. And I get that, okay? That's like, I understand. Trust me, I do. But the team is winning, bro. You should be happy that the team is winning. Now, when Ferran came off, the team wasn't winning, so I understand why he might have been upset because he thought he could make a change. But I'm not as pissed with Ferran because I understand why he's mad. Ferran Torres has been really good this season when he's played, and I think he deserves more trust from Hansi Flick. And I thought at that point in the game, he should have stayed on. But again, Hansi Flick brought him off, and the game completely changed. So Hansi Flick clearly knows what he's doing. And now let's talk about Hector Ford. Hector Ford, I also feel for Hector Ford. I think he has a right to be upset too. Because Hector Ford has not got a chance to prove himself this season at all. Hansi Flick didn't tell him to go find a new club. Hansi Flick, I thought maybe like I don't know what Hansi Flick and him, the conversations they've had, but clearly Hector Ford thought he was going to be a big part of this team. Obviously coming off that season last year where he actually showed promise when he got playing time under Xavi, and this season it hasn't been that way. And especially when you look at our fullback situation, you can't tell me that Hector Ford is not a better option than Gerard Martin. You cannot tell me that Hector Ford is not a good option to bring off the bench when Koundé is clearly not playing well or clearly tired because he plays too many minutes. So I actually feel for Hector Ford. I actually feel for Ferran Torres. You guys know, I very rarely side with the manager or the club. I'm a players guy, bro. I mostly side with players. I'm as pro player as you will find anywhere, bro. When it comes to any sport, because I love the players, man. I root for a team because of the players, and obviously because it's the club. But when I get their anger, but I don't get Ansu Fati's anger. But with Hector Ford, like I said, I understand it, man, okay? Because you see the backup options that are playing instead of you, and they're clearly not as good as you. They're clearly not as good as you. Gerard Martin is clearly not as good as Hector Ford, or at least his ceiling isn't as high. Maybe his floor is higher, but his ceiling isn't nearly as high. And, I think Hector Ford could do a job, so I think he has a right to be upset. Because Koundé in that game was not playing well. He just wasn't playing well. Koundé did not have a good game against Celta Vigo. You could have brought in Hector Ford. Gerard Martin was not having a good game against Celta Vigo. You could have brought in Hector Ford to replace them. But Hansi Flick refused to do it. And again, I'm going to trust Hansi Flick because he's giving me no reason to doubt him. But I understand why Hector Ford is upset. I understand why Ferran Torres is upset. I don't understand why Ansu Fati is upset. I just don't get it at all. Because again, Ansu, I want to see him succeed. Trust me, I do. I want to see him thrive somewhere. I still have a soft spot in my heart, like a lot of Barca fans do, for this guy. But Hansi Flick told you, bro, you're not going to play. So you have no right to be upset. And every time your family comes out and talks shit and says that, oh, he's upset with the playing time he's getting, I don't get it, bro. I don't get it because this was heavily reported. Like, it was widely reported in January that Hansi Flick told him to go find a new club. He told him that, and he had offers, and he refused to take them. It's like Ansu Fati had no offers. People are still willing to take a chance on Ansu Fati, but Ansu Fati doesn't want to do it. So again, that's my thoughts on this whole situation. You guys might think I'm out of line. I don't know. I don't think I am. I think most logical people side with, like, agree with what I'm saying. When people communicate something to you, listen to those people. Okay? So yeah, that's my thoughts. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. By the way, thank you guys so much for the support on that post I did yesterday about why I'm not streaming anymore. A lot of you guys, some of you guys weren't happy with it. A small minority weren't happy with it and were saying that I'm weak-minded, which makes no fucking sense to me. But anyway, most of you guys, 99% of you guys were super supportive, and I appreciate you guys so much. In life, you're not going to please everybody, and I'm not here to please everybody. I'm here to do what's best for me and what I'm comfortable with. And I just gave you guys my honest thoughts, so I hope you guys can appreciate it. And yeah, man, I love every single one of you. Obviously, be here for the match review tomorrow against Mallorca. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one, and I love you guys. Peace out.